Hi, I'm Jack with Housemasters Carpentry, and I'm going to show you how to take this floor, which is ran to a wall where windows used to be and a door put in. Now we have a 2-inch space where the flooring is not there, for lack of a better way to put it. I'm going to straighten this edge up and then add a new piece of flooring in there to make like a transition strip. This is going to be a flush set with the surrounding floor, so that it does not have no ramp or really transition to speak of. It's just a transition as in the way the flooring is set compared to the rest of the flooring that's in the room. So I'm going to show you how to cut back the floor using the edge of the door itself as a straight edge, so it's a perfect cut from the edge of the door to the fresh edge of the cut of this flooring, so that the transition strip, as I call it, will fit right down inside there. Stay tuned and see how it's done. This is the example that I'm talking about. The floor is running this way. It was cut to a drywall surface at one time. The wall was removed, door was put in place, and now I have this 2-inch difference here. So the flooring has been stepped back, which at one time would be covered by the base real easily. Well, it's not so. So I'm going to take my router, and I've measured this dimension all throughout the way. It's about a 10-foot wide door, maybe 12. And I measured this in a number of different spaces, and I found that this dimension is 2 5/16 from there to there at the widest point. It's about 2 1/4 right here. My router with its offset, my router with the offset is already 2 1/4 from this side of the bit to the edge of the base plate on all sides, except for this side, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and make a preliminary cut at 2 1/4 and see how it cleans up. It might, it might clean up on that 2 5/16 on that other one. And the way the bit's cutting, I'm going to be cutting from this direction here, and that's a good thing. So I'm going to start by setting the router up high, because this is not a plunge router. I'm going to start it up high and ease it down into the work, and that's how we're going to proceed with this. I also have my other router here with me. If you have a square base one, you can do it, but be really careful. Just like this thing wants to move one way or the other, it's going to make a cut larger into your piece, and you don't want that to happen. I'm not going to make a full depth cut. I'm down about 3/8 of an inch, and I'm going to set that in there and just see how it acts. I might even make it lighter than that, just to make sure it handles properly. I'm going to go with about a 1/4 inch cut instead. So let's see what happens. Okay, I see already I didn't cut back the cardboard enough to clear this base plate, so that's a problem there. So let me see if I can just rotate it and get it out of the way, or even let it run underneath that like it is. I'm good with that. Okay, well, I already see one little oopsie right here. I got a little dip right there where this did something up underneath of that material there. So I'm glad I have another 1/16 of an inch that I got to take out. So this is evidently rolled up underneath the edge of this door, much to my surprise. And maybe that dip is an illusion, because it did roll up underneath there and went back another 1/16 or so. So we got to see what that means. Also want to make sure I'm not doing nothing to scratch the floor. I might be better off just cutting with my track saw. I'm beginning to think that's going to be the thing to do. Fresh blade on my track saw, cut it, multi-master the ends of it, and be done with it. Something just telling me that's going to be the best way to go about it. Because of the way the door is shimmed up, because of the way the joists roll back from the wall, they had to shim it up to take care of the taper that the door otherwise would have been sitting on, the angle that the door would have otherwise been sitting on. The base of this router is getting underneath a lip on the sill of the door, and it's making the router get caught under it. It's letting it shift over to a smaller cut, a good thing. But it's also making it difficult trying to push it along because it's also pressing down on the edge at the same time. So this is going to make it really not a good idea to use a router. So I'm going to have to break up my track saw. I was hoping that I was going to be able to show how to do it with a router, but you've seen my preliminaries that I did. Set it shallow to depth. Make your first cut, see how it's going to act. Because after I'd seen the way it's acting, I'm not about to take a deeper cut on this to make the final pass with this. My track saw is going to do that. So, all right, that's that first attempt. Since I'm using something that I know can possibly burr the cut, I'm going to make a pass farther over than what my final cut will be, just to give it a test to see how see the quality of the cut this is going to leave. I also got to set this for depth, so I'm going to set this over here, hit that. All right, that's that. All right, I got my saw set for depth. I got it beside, not quite beside where I'm going to make a test cut, because I got some flooring that's ran longer than all of it right here, and it's going to tell me whether or not this cut's going to get burred or not by my blade, because we're pulling the blade up through the face of the flooring, not into the face of the flooring. So that gives chance for splintering to happen, and I don't want that to happen here. This is a finished cut. The router that I was going to do was going to eliminate all of that. The only thing I had to watch out for how the path of the router was going to go. I don't have that option anymore. And thankfully, it's a very nice cut. Take a peek at this. This is the cut that I have just as a sample takeoff. But you look down here at close in this, that's a pristine cut right there. So now I know I can take my 2 5/16 cut and make this a nice sweet cut all the way through and get this thing to have this ready to receive the new piece. Now I want to also see if I have my saw set too deep, because I don't need to cut into the subfloor no more than just to cut through this. And right now it's looking really good. And I'm just scoring the plywood there, so we're good there. Okay, so I'm going to set this so that this edge is 2 5/16 from this. Now it's 2 5/16 on this end. Now as long as the other end didn't move, I'm good. All right, I got this cut that's about 3 inches away from that wall that I got to get to. So I'm going to just, I won't freehand it. I'm going to set this, just a little guide stick, right on the edge of the cut that my track saw made. So it's going to follow that perfectly. And I'm going to put my knee on it down here, so that way I know it won't move. And I'm going to cut on the side of that so I won't overcut my original cut from the track saw. And this should make this fairly nice. That looks just like a continuation of the rest of it. And I just got to finish that little cut right there. Base will cover this, trim will cover all that. Lord willing, the trim will cover that too. But that popped out of there. Very nice. I got some scraping to do here. Okay. Now we are vacuum ready. I'm going to do the same thing at the other end. Same thing here, but it's much bigger. Not a 3-inch space, but now about a 5-inch space. Same technique, not a problem. I got to find my true edge and not that illusion of that little sliver being there. Okay, 2 there. 2 there. Okay. Now, that should be ready for the new piece. I need to make sure mine's accurate all the way through. I got 2 5/16 there. Yes, there. So far. And I see some wiggly going on with this plastic here also. I'm cutting it a little wide for now, and I'm going to make another pass to clean it up. Okay, I'm going to take a couple of scraps off of this, and actually it'll be a couple of scraps off of this. So I'm going to use this as a gauge to make sure I get that shim back up, because I think there's a underlayment on that floor. If you see what I'm seeing, I actually thought this was going to happen, and it did. I'm going to have to kick this up a little bit to get rid of that dark edge. See, there's a piece of black plastic where they shimmed this up to do what they needed to do. Well, it also did me dirty on what I'm looking at in the way it was finished. So now I got this dark line that's going to be there that I don't want to add another piece of molding. So I'm going to just simply elevate this and make that go away like that. And that cleans up a lot. I think it's a lot better looking that way than that way. So that's what I'm doing there. So I'm going to cut a uniform piece, and this will probably change down the way because the floor drops, because that's the way the joists run. It's higher over on this end and high on that end, but low in the center where the floor joists drop down over their run. So let's see what we got here. Rip down a piece of 5/16 thick material with a slight bevel on it to match the slope, probably about a 10-degree slope, and then set that on top of this floor, and then put these pieces in on top of that so it makes that dark line go away. Already got my fillers all laid out. I'm going to have to do something at the back edge also, so it appears. So I'm going to make some more shims for that, because it looks like I'm going to be just down below the surface when I get some pressure on here to hold this in place. So I'm going to make something for that too. It's not going to take a lot, but I got to get something in there. I'm going to make that 32nd inch shim out of the solid stock, because that handles different than plywood when it gets that thin. Plywood wants to fall apart. The solid stock will stay true. This is along the lines of what I was thinking of, but that might be too thin, but I'm going to make enough just in case it's the right thickness. Here's what I'm talking about. That shouldn't happen. That should be at least an even transition. At worst, it should be a slight ramp over top of it. And it's not going to happen without something underneath of it. So I feel as though this is the right piece. I'm going to have to vacuum this one more time. I'm going to slather all this in glue and then put that in there with that piece underneath of it. So this is what I'm feeling is the right thing. I might not need it down here where this of the material is down here, but for now, I'm figuring this is going to be needed for this. And there it is. All gone. And that's still good there, even with that plastic stuff there. And I got a little hump right here, but this can conform to that. That'll all work. We got it. This is good. Glue time. Like I mentioned before, that plastic wiggles a little bit down through, especially in the center. I'm going to take some of my finished caulk and finish off that edge to make it look like it grew in place. I could have cut it and scribed it in, but it's a threshold where it meets the door. This thing's going to move, but I'm going to make sure that stays as tight as it needs to for the long haul. I want to show you a close-up. Yeah, I got a fairly heavy bead here, but between this sponge and wiping it down, that dark line that I had, that's where it was. It ain't there no more. And that caulk is just filling that gap immediately in the gap. There's no overlay. There's no muddying of the caulk onto the face. It's just caulk only in the joint, nothing on the face, and nothing on the face of the plastic. All right, folks, that's got this one done here. It does have a slight angle to it. I would say it's similar to the one that I did where the 2x6 was in the way. But if I didn't have to worry about that dark edge down there, this would have been a flat install. That was my first original intention, but I had to kick it up that little bit before I finished everything off, so it would cover up that dark edge as I showed you beforehand, using this as a sample just to see how everything laid together. This is a handy thing to have, just making samples to make sure that you're going in the right direction that you need to. That way you're not trashing out a perfectly good piece of material trying to do it the first time. Always have your samples, work with that. And if you manage to pick up a little something on this, hit that like and subscribe button. I greatly appreciate if you did. So, till later guys, God bless. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.